Welcome to the Captain's Instructions for Wiffleball. We will review the rules of Wiffleball, important dates, IM League's expectations, COVID expectations, and your responsibilities as captain. A Wiffleball game shall consist of 4 innings, and it will have a time limit of 30 minutes. No new innings shall begin after 30 minutes have expired. No extra innings will be played in regular season. Players and substitutions. Each game of wiffle ball shall be played 5-on-5, with a minimum of 3 players required to begin. You have 2 options for batting in the game of wiffle ball. You may either choose to bat 5, or you can bat your entire lineup. Those are the only 2 options that you have. If you choose to bat the entire lineup, any 5 can play in the field. However, if you choose to bat 5 and use substitutions, players will share a spot in the batting order and cannot play the field at the same time. For example, if we look at our roster example over here, we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 batting spots. We can see in batting spot 1, we have player A and player F. Player F has come into the game to substitute for player A. That means that player F will bat in the number 1 spot, and they will play the field. You do have unlimited substitutions, so player A and F can sub for each other as often as you would like. However, player A and player F may not substitute into any other spot in this batting order. Batting, there will be no bunting. We are using standard 3 strikes and 4 balls. There is no limit on the number of foul balls that you may take. However, on a 3rd strike, if a ball is foul tipped into the pocket on the auto ump, which we'll talk more about in the next slide, it is an out. The auto ump. It'll look a little something like this picture over here. It's a nice rectangle with a little circle pocket in the center of it. If a pitch strikes the auto ump, it is a strike. If it doesn't strike it, it's a ball. If the ball bounces before coming in contact with the auto ump, it will also be a ball. If a pitch lands in the pocket, which is right here, all players on base are out. Base runners. Players may steal any base except home. A runner shall announce steal, and if the pitch is a strike, they are out. There is no need for that player to start running towards the base they are trying to steal. They just announce it and find out what happens. The player may leave the base once the ball is hit by the batter. Home plate will have a commit line. This is just on the other side of third base. Once a player crosses that commit line, they must go all the way to home. The defense can throw the ball at the auto ump, and if it hits the auto ump before the player touches home, they are out. Wiffle ball regular season will be March 29th through April 15th. The schedule is set to be released on March 25th on IM Leagues. Each team shall be scheduled for at least 3 games. Teams must check in with the intramural supervisor on site by game time. If a team does not show up on time, their contest will be forfeited. If you know you cannot make it, just email me at bhainline@smu.edu by 3 p.m. on the day of your contest so that we can default the contest. We will let the opposing team know they have won and there is no penalty to your team other than a loss. IM Leagues is the management software that we utilize, and all players will need to have an account to participate. Be sure to invite players to your team through IM Leagues or direct them to request to join your team. There's an IM Leagues app that you can download in the App Store. You will be permitted a maximum of 10 players on your roster, and players must be on the roster by 3 p.m. the day of the game. Playoffs will run April 19th through May 3rd. In order to qualify for playoffs, your team must have a 3.0 sportsmanship rating and may not forfeit more than one contest. Defaults do not count as forfeits. Playoffs are scheduled at any time and do not follow your regular season schedule. In order to let the intramural office know about times on which your team cannot play, you will need to complete playoff time preferences in IM leagues. These preferences are due by April 10th. Teams are only permitted to block out 2 times per date. We cannot guarantee that all conflicts will be avoided, but we will do our best. Playoff brackets will be released on Friday, April 16th. Help us keep SMU safe by minding these COVID safety reminders. Face coverings are required at all times, even while playing. Each participant is expected to follow the SMU Pledge to Protect. All participants, including teammates, are to maintain 6 feet of social distance. Captain's responsibilities. Roster management. Manage your team roster on IM leagues. You must have at least 3 players and may have a maximum of 10 players on your roster. You are expected to know the eligibility of each of your teammates, and once a player is added to your roster and they are checked into a game, you may not delete them from your team. However, a player who is not checked into a game may be deleted from your roster so that you may make room for someone else. Communication with your team. Ensure that you have communicated the following items to your teammates. They need their SMU ID to check into a game. Make sure they know when and where you play. Explain the rules of the game. Notify them of intramural policies and procedures, including the sportsmanship expectations. And review COVID guidelines to keep our campus community healthy. We love captains in the intramural sports office. As a captain, you represent your team at each game and to the intramural sports office. If you have a question, complaint, suggestion, or compliment, reach us at bhainline@smu.edu. Be sure to also complete your playoff time preferences. If you have any additional questions, please email me at bhainline@smu.edu. Thanks for playing.